Hi, sweet friend. Welcome to another episode of Watercolor Happy Hour. My name is Volta. I'm the artist behind Color Snack, and Dan over here is making a ruckus trying to get some ice.
Hi, sweet friend.
All right, Dan. So today I'm really excited. We're making a really delicious cocktail.
Custom cocktail.
Finally got your ice. And yes, the cocktail is inspired by this beverage called Tepache. Tepache. It's so delicious on its own. Honestly, like if you want to just do a mocktail, just grab one of these cans. It's awesome. But we wanted to, of course, include it in our cocktail show. So I was like, Dan, can you please make a cocktail with this delicious drink? And of course, Dan rose up to the challenge.
Yeah, Tepache, Holy Kombucha, they've been friends of Volta for a while. They were kind enough to send us a few of these bottles.
Yeah, I wanted their giveaway. That's how I got these. Yeah, thank you, friends.
Yeah, it's very kind of Holy Kombucha. They gave us the shirt, they gave us these bottles, and they gave us some lovely cards. Good friends of Color Snack.
Yes.
And it's great to work with them, and I'm excited to show you guys this cocktail. It's kind of a riff off of a French 75, very generously. I'm stretching that term riff here, because it's kind of similar ingredients and similar way of putting it together, but at the same time totally different.
Yeah.
So let's say if we just took an Aperol Spritz and a French 75 and bashed them together, threw in some Tepache, you've got what we've created here.
A Tepache Spritz.
A Tepache Spritz, yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, and if you didn't see the ingredients in the show notes, it's going to be 1 ounce of gin, ½ ounce Cointreau, ½ ounce lime juice, ½ ounce syrup.
Like basically all my favorite things.
Yeah, all of Volta's favorite things. Pour it over ice, topped with Tepache, and then with an Aperol float, both for color and to add a little bit of complexity. This is something that you should feel free to riff with this formula if you wanted a different flavor of Tepache. This one we're using strawberry lime, hence why we're elevating the acid with lime. If you had one of the like hibiscus
Ginger
or
hibiscus,
ginger
that's another
hibiscus,
great one, great flavor.
that would be great with lemon instead of lime. So yeah, there's plenty of variety here. I encourage you to just experiment. That's what is so great about cocktails.
Or just have Tepache like straight up.
Yeah, if you want to be like that, sure. So the first thing we're going to do is add 1 ounce of our gin. We're using Beefeater today. Also a good friend of the show. We like our Beefeater brand stuff. Excellent dry all-around gin. Cointreau, 1/2 ounce.
Another delicious addition.
Another delicious addition. ½ ounce there. And Tepache is relatively dry. It's not a high sugar carbonated beverage. There's only 60 calories in this entire can. So in order to offset the strength of the alcohol, especially the gin, we're going to add just a ½ ounce of syrup. The Cointreau adds sweetness as well, so we don't need to go overboard.
And I don't think we actually explained what Tepache is on its own, did we?
I don't think we did. Yeah, you're good at explaining it.
So this beverage is actually very common in central Mexico, and it is made out of, it's like a fermented beverage out of pineapple rind and peel. And kind of like, you know how you have kombucha? Well, this is like a different version. It's not a kombucha, but like a Tepache. Because of it's like the properties of how it's made is like pineapple based. Super delicious. And Holy Kombucha actually has like a whole line of these in different flavors. Super tasty. So highly recommend you check them out. This drink traditionally is drank like in the summertime when it's really hot, because it's like cools you off, and it has a lot of like other benefits, because it's essentially like packed with probiotics and things of that nature.
Yeah. Now, like kombucha, I believe there's a very, very small amount of alcohol in it, like 0.25%. Not enough that it needs to be classified as an alcoholic beverage, but enough that if you do have an alcohol allergy or a religious or philosophic aversion to alcohol, it might still fall into that gray area. So be aware of the alcohol content similar to kombucha. And you just saw me add in a ½ ounce of lime juice. So now we're going to, similar to a French 75, take that, give it a good shake. While I give Volta a headache. Not bad. Alright. Just to dilute it a bit. And for show.
Yeah.
That's another important thing.
Do you want me to open this?
Yeah, if you want to. And now we're going to add our big ice cubes into the glass. Stopping briefly on our second one to take a razor thin slice of lime.
Ah, it's so good. So refreshing.
Yes, and since I'm making that for Volta, it's okay she's drinking. If you're making it for your friends, probably don't take a sip of the soda before
Yeah,
you
probably don't do that. It's like common sense, I guess.
Alright. And then what we want is to kind of push those wedges against the ice so that you get it like pressed right up against there.
So pretty, yeah.
And with the last ice cube, we're going to put it in horizontally wide so that it really pushes that wedge in. And that gives you kind of that cool,
yeah, it looks so cool,
stacked effect. Now we'll take the mixture. We want to pour that over the ice so that it gets nice and chilled and the ice becomes a little more translucent. Just adding to the effect. Take our Tepache, do the same thing. I want to pour this kind of slowly because you want to make that umber effect. And the ice cube kind of protects it from stirring too much.
Oh, it's so cool already.
Yeah.
Look at that.
And then last but not least, we're going to take our final ½ ounce, 15 mLs of Aperol to give it that nice extra little oomph, that bit of dryness and bitterness that keeps you coming back to a cocktail. You don't want it to all be one note. And we'll just pour that gently over the top.
So cool.
So it creates...
watercolor in real life.
Exactly. And there you have it. The Tepache Spritz.
Gotta put a straw in it.
Oh yeah, can you hand me that paper straw that you
I think
have?
it's in there.
Where did you get it? Ooh, those are fancy.
Yeah. Grab a red one. And we are gonna paint a little strawberry. My bad, forgot to grab some strawberries today. But I just think it would just like, it's like the ice, the cherry on top / strawberry on top, because, you know, it is a strawberry lime flavored Tepache, so that's why
strawberries and limes.
Strawberry garnish probably makes sense.
Yes.
Alright, let's try this.
Stir it up
Yeah.
to get all those flavors to mix together. There you go. Volta.
Thank you. Ah, it's so good. So good. So like refreshing, summery. I mean, I know it's September, but honestly, here in Texas, it's really just like another month of summer.
It's still summer here.
2 sips is so good.
A 2-sip one.
2 sips. Hi Tiffany. Yes, I think it's another like really pretty one that I'm excited to paint it.
That is good.
It's got like nice watercolory type of. Yeah, it's not very high in alcohol, right? Even though like there's a lot of ingredients that you're using here, but you're using
No.
small amounts and
It's only 1 ounce of Beefeater, which is, I want to say, 44%, and then Cointreau, which is 40. Yeah. So that is about the equivalent of a beer, like a
yeah.
Budweiser, like a
It
regular
tastes
beer.
so much better than a beer, guys.
Yeah, that's true.
It's also fizzy like a beer, right? Carbonated?
A little, yeah. There's a little carbonation there. It's a good, refreshing drink.
Yeah.
So yeah, encourage you to try out Tepache. Tepache. Let us know what types of drinks you make with it. There's lots of cool flavor.
Sharon, thank you so much. Yep, it's summer. It's probably gonna be summer for the next 2 months here.
Yeah, you know, we'll get that 1 week of fall when all the leaves turn brown and then fall off.
And then it'll be like 1 month of winter.
Well, it'll either be like a month of winter, or it'll be months of winter when everything freezes.
Yep.
But all right, so are we gonna paint this cocktail now?
Let's paint it.
Awesome.
Will you switch the cameras,
I am
please?
doing that right now. Transition to your watercolor station.
Are we there?
Yes.
Awesome. Are you gonna paint with us?
Sure.
All right. Let me grab you. You'll need to like fill up your cup with water because I know you hate these brush pens. And actually, also give me a paper towel while you're up. Thank you, Dan.
Yes, madam.
All right.
Move this microphone over too.
Yes, thank you. All right, here's a piece of paper for you and a pencil, and then a brush, and then watercolors we can share, right?
Yes.
All right, so I got my paper towel ready. All right. Are you ready to start?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So for this cocktail, the Tepache Spritz, it's going to be fairly a simple shape. So we're using a highball glass. Yeah, that's what these glasses are called.
Also called a Collins glass.
Also called a Collins glass. Thanks. Thank you. So
You're welcome.
but it's essentially like a very simple shape, right? We have two parallel lines and then a couple of slightly curved lines that connect these lines, and then we'll add a couple of lime slices that are going to be like little circles, and then kind of like a heart shaped for the strawberry, and then thank you.
Yes.
Wow, such service.
Yeah. Have a drink and relax.
Okay, yeah, have a drink and relax while you paint with us.
Yes.
Alright, so I'm going to get started by sketching the glass. So I'm going to do two parallel lines. I'm going to start with the first one,
One parallel line.
then I'm going to do the second one,
Second parallel line.
and then I'm going to, I guess I should flip this, just to give it a little bit more light. Thank you. Okay, thanks, Dan. Does that look okay? Or a little dark?
Wonder why it's so dark. I think maybe the exposure got
Oh,
eat up.
sorry about that. I'll just tilt it back to how it was.
Yeah.
No, the other way. The other
Yeah,
way.
that'll actually look better. It's bouncing off the wall.
Okay.
So we're gonna do this.
Alright, sorry guys, some technical lighting difficulties. No, you're tilting it the wrong way.
Okay, sorry. There you go, that looks good.
Alright, okay. Okay, we're back in the game. Thank you. So, I got my two parallel lines, and then I'm gonna do another one here, kind of like a slightly curved line at the bottom. And then I'm gonna do another one that's just parallel to that line, just to show like that the thick part of the glass at the very bottom of it. So I got 2 lines here, and then at the top I'm gonna put kind of like sketch a little a very thin or like narrow oval shape, but essentially it's another like series of like slightly curved lines just to show the very top portion of the glass. And then there's also going to be a little ice cube that's going to like kind of peek through a little bit, and it's essentially like just like a corner of it, so the rest of it is going to be kind of submerged underneath or inside of the cocktail. So you're just looking kind of like at a little corner shape of it. And then let's see, for the limes, I'm gonna do, actually I did 3 here, but I'm just gonna sketch out 2 little lime wheels or lime slices.
Yeah, wheels.
Yeah, I'm gonna do one kind of circular shape here inside of the glass, and then the second one is just gonna be kind of half of the lime, so kind of half of a circle or a semicircle, because essentially like this slice, you know, is kind of like bending around the glass so you can't see it, just to kind of give this cocktail a little bit more of an interesting look.
Just peeking out.
Just peeking out, yeah. And then
Hang on, just a line hanging out.
and then I'm gonna do for the straw, it's another series of 2 parallel lines, and then a little line at the top that connects, and then I'll just paint the little straw design with watercolors. And then the last thing, I guess, is adding a strawberry, and I'm just gonna kind of put it here on the left side, kind of hanging off of the edge. And the strawberry shape is kind of like a heart, if you will. May I see the eraser once you're done? And then at the top, I'm gonna do just a series of like little tiny lines to represent the leaves. Thank you. And I'm just gonna use this eraser that Dan shared with me to to erase a few of these extra lines.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All right. So we're pretty much ready. Or let me do. Actually, I'm gonna do the center of the lime and do those little partitions, kind of like the pizza slices inside, just so that I have something to reference. All right, now we're ready to paint. I'm gonna grab my water brush pen, and the very first thing that I'm gonna actually work on is gonna be the lime wheels. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of green. I have this like yellowy green in my palette. If you don't have this particular, color of it, you could always take whatever green you have and mix it with yellow to get that nice warmer green, some more like a lime slice. I'm just gonna grab that and I'm gonna paint. So I'm only gonna paint kind of like the bottom portions of this particular lime, because I want it to look like it's submerged in water, so you can only kind of see some of it. So I'm not gonna tilt this beverage that I have, but it's kind of like inspired by that, where like you can just kind of see a little bit of the lime, but not like the entire slice. So now I'm just gonna kind of paint just half of it essentially. And then for the other lime slice, since we only have half, I will just paint the entire thing. And then just add like tiny little brush marks to indicate like a little bit of the texture inside. Yeah, there you go. Alright, so while I'm gonna let this dry for now. I'm gonna work next on the strawberry. So I'm gonna grab one of my reds here. And I'm going to just kind of start painting the strawberry. And I want to lift off a little bit of a highlight here, so I'm going to clean off my brush and my light source is coming from the left hand side, so I'm gonna just lift off a little bit. And I'm gonna go in, just gonna add another layer, just drop in a little bit more red because I want this strawberry to be very juicy, saturated. All right. And then I'm gonna go back to this green that I was using, and I'm just gonna use the same green to kind of do these little, the little leaves on the strawberry. All right, and let's see. If your highlight starts to disappear, you can always, like with a clean brush, come in and lift off. So you want to essentially, like sometimes you have to reinforce an area or a little highlight, but just make sure to clean off the brush after every single time you're removing that excess color. Alright, I'm gonna grab some red now, again the same one, and I'm just gonna do the little design on the straw, and they're just like a series of little tiny hash marks, or just little lines, I guess. Little tiny shapes parallel to each other. And then let's see, so this area has kind of, pretty much dried for me, so I'm gonna clean off my brush, and for the color of this Spritz, I'm gonna be using this orange. It's like a yellowy orange, kind of like a golden orange color. So if you have, any orange in your palette, just add a little bit more yellow to kind of get this nicer, or not nicer, just a different color of an orange. It's not super, it doesn't have a lot of red in it, it has more yellow in it. So I'm gonna grab that, and now I'm gonna start painting the inside of the beverage. I'm gonna grab a little bit more color. And actually I'm gonna like paint over some of this lime so that it looks like, part of it is like underneath or inside inside of the beverage. But the other part of it is just like kind of like really up against the glass, so you can see it a lot better. So I'm just covering this area with my orange. Painting around this lime. There we go, and I'm actually going to add a little bit more orange, like I'm going to drop more of this orange on the right hand side because my highlight is on the left side. So I want to create a bigger contrast, so it's like one side has a much darker value of this orange, yeah. So then I can clean off my brush and also like lift off just a bit of a highlight here, just to kind of show more of a contrast between these two areas. So here we have much lighter value, on this side we have much darker value, so essentially more watercolor paint versus water, and on the other side is more water versus paint. And see, I'm gonna add actually a touch of this darker orange and just kind of drop it in a little bit more around. So I encourage you to experiment. I mean, kind of like what Dan said, even with this cocktail and the ingredients, just grab some, oranges, and you can like drop in a little bit more pigment on one side, as long as you have like a nice contrast. Some areas are going to be much lighter in value and the other ones are darker. I encourage you to just experiment and just observe what watercolors do, because they're so flowy and relaxing. And it's just part of the fun to see maybe you like it to be the orange to be much darker, So you can always kind of like adjust and experiment. So here I'm just dropping, like just going straight into the palette, this like really saturated kind of like orangey orange, and just dropping in on this side, just so I have like, the reason why I'm doing that is to have a nice contrast between this lighter area and darker.
You gotta be zen about it.
Yeah.
Can't force the paint.
Yeah. Just let the colors kind of do their thing, and I love dropping in various colors on top of each other, because you can get some really cool effects and watercolor textures that way.
Yeah, most of the time it's gonna look good and the paint does all the work and you get all the credit.
Exactly, you get all the credit. Alright, so now for the actual glass, I'm going to use a little bit of Payne's Gray, and I'm diluting it with a ton of water, so it's going to be very light. Just going to use that to outline the glass here, and then I'm going to do a couple of little extra like brush strokes, just to like give the impression or show the impression of some shadows inside of the shape. And then at the top I'm going to outline and also just add a couple of extra brush strokes on the ice cube, not like just inside of this shape, just to like adding a couple of details, so you have like a little bit of a shadow going on there as well. Alright, and another thing you could also do here is, this of course will take a little bit extra time, but you could also add a highlight on the straw. So right now it's looking very uniform, like the same kind of value. I can go in with a little bit more red, and as a second coat, apply it just on kind of like half of the shape. So immediately you'll see like that difference in the values. There's like a much lighter side here, and that's because the light source is coming from this direction. If you want to kind of soften these edges, you can go in with a clean brush and kind of like blend out that edge or soften it, or essentially what I like to call like tickle the paper. That's another whatever you want to call it. And here, like on my strawberry too, I'm seeing that the red dried a lot lighter than I'd like, so I'm gonna go in tons more red here. Just gonna do a second layer. I'm gonna clean off the brush, and I want to make sure I still have a very visible highlight here. There we go, much better. Another like really, this is the easiest way to kind of like add a quick darker area or like a shadow is, just go in with the same color and much darker value, and it'll be darker. Or if you, want to kind of, the traditional route is to add a little bit of green into your red to make that color like even more dramatic, like that contrast even more dramatic. So let's see, I'm gonna grab a little bit of red, mix it in with some green, and you get a muddy color, but when you lay it on to an area that you want to like indicate a shadow, it really works really nicely.
So you use green to make shadow on red.
Yeah, that's part of my basic watercolor theory. I actually have a chapter on this in my book, and if you'd like to learn more, you can always check out that section. I was trying to make it, because even to me, I'm a self-taught artist, and color theory used to intimidate me a lot. So my whole goal with, sharing the knowledge is making it as accessible as possible for you guys to just kind of like taking all the, hoity-toity, like the snobby language out of it and making it like super approachable.
That is a good thing. Art does not need to be guarded or kept precious.
Yeah, art does not need to be kept precious, not at all. I'm Well, look at this delicious cocktail. So now we painted one and we can enjoy one. All right, Dan, how are you doing? I want to see your painting.
I'm doing okay. I haven't gotten any of the Payne's Gray glass yet,
Ah,
but I think I did all right. Then I just... It does come off. You're right. There's
Let me
mine so
see.
far.
ooh, very nice. Ooh, I love that you added the 3 ice cubes.
Yes.
I really like that. The only note I would say, but I know you're not done, is you were probably going to add another layer of orange to make it more saturated, like more...
Yeah, maybe.
Like,
We'll see.
well, because right now the values, they look the same.
Yeah.
But if you wanted just to make it a little bit more interesting,
Yeah.
just add more orange on one side to have that nice contrast, like how you did on the strawberry.
Yeah.
Oh, and I even like that your strawberry is like legit, like inserted on the glass, whereas mine is just kind of floating.
Yeah, you just like a Photoshop strawberry on the
Yeah,
top.
it's very, very Photoshop. Nicely done.
Yes, well, thank you. I'm learning from the best.
Aw, thank you. All right, how do we switch the camera?
No, you can Alt-Tab over to
Alt-Tab.
OBS, or you can touch screen and drag and switch. Hit Alt-Tab. That is Alt-Space. So Alt-Tab switches screens,
Okay.
and then transition.
All right, we got
Right
it.
here, you
Got
switch to this screen.
Okay. Awesome.
There we go.
Need the microphone. All right.
Tech support, Dan.
Yay! Thank you.
I do what I can.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I hope you enjoyed this Tepache experience. Highly recommend, if you guys like find it in the store, like highly recommend you try it. It's really delicious, and of course, making the cocktail too is like extra delicious. But yeah, if you'd like to ever send us any ideas or recommendations of what cocktails we should do next, just leave a comment or reach out to me. We always welcome ideas. I know we're really excited about Texas State Fair is like a huge deal for our friends outside of Texas. This is like the biggest deal of the year. So we are excited to, well, Dan has a challenge to create a beautiful and delicious State Fair inspired drink. So
I really want to try to make a fried butter cocktail.
I don't know about that, but something more fruity
Or maybe fried Oreo cocktail.
Yeah.
Deep fried cocktail.
Some of these Texas Fair foods are...
I want to say they did fried beer once.
Yeah. I don't know how that would go.
Look up the entries to Texas
Yeah,
State Fair food.
They're like really ridiculous, but some of them sound so good. Even if they're like deep fried, like with chocolate and
They're
marshmallows.
always deep fried.
Yeah, it's you gotta commit.
Or I think Frito pie is usually there too. I wonder if I could use Fritos.
I probably
I've
could.
seen people use Red Hot Cheetos as a rim.
Yeah,
Mmm.
we'll see.
It's corn and earthy. I could make that work. Decisions.
Sharon's fried Oreo cocktail could be interesting.
Yes.
Challenge accepted. Okay, Dan, now you have to make it. All right, well, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back next week at same time, same place, 7 p.m. And if you have any other questions about cocktails or watercolors, just send me a DM or a comment. I'm happy to share it.
Yeah. Hit you up on @ColorSnack.
@ColorSnack on Instagram. All right, guys, have a great rest of your week, and thank you so much for joining. And also a huge shout out to my patrons. Thank you for supporting, for your continued support. See you guys.